not in a very long time, they will work at your home. Who will be the winner? We are here to help you through our funds to find what will be the next one. You need to be ready. You need to be ready to live with the humanoid. Hi, and welcome to a special Merrill talk here. As you know, we spoke this year about the war on the chip side, US versus China on the semiconductors, and I think it's important for us to communicate to you that we are very taking a close attention to the revolution that's taking place. And this revolution, it's the Industrial Revolution 5.0. As you probably know, we want to go a little bit also with the context with you. It's quite important. Why? Because with the part of the team, back to 2021, we analyzed quite deeply the supply chain of the semiconductors. And for us, the next challenge will be robotic and AI. AI, it's already present. And I think it's important for you to understand what's the next step. We are currently on the Industrial Revolution 4.30, but it's good to see and understand we are moving in the directions of the 5.0. Just to put a little bit here the things in perspective. So we had the first revolutions, which is the 18th century, with steam powers and mechanizations. The second revolutions took place in the 19th century with the electricity and the mass productions. The third revolutions take place in the mid-20th century, computers and basic automations. The fourth revolutions, this is where we stand at the moment, it's how the interconnect system and smart technology. So now, as we see on the headlines, there is a lot of things going on the robotic side, and probably robotic will be the next revolution. And why it will be the next revolutions? Because the interactions between human and the machine. At the moment, we know since ChatGPT took place in 2022, a lot of people are now interacting with ChatGPT with the vocal voice, but I will say the collaboration is not yet done because the impulsion is coming from the humans to the machine. But as we know, the things are coming also in the directions of cooperations. And I think it's important to say that it's already coming, especially I will say the automobile industry. The automobile industry have been the pioneer on that side. Why? Because the machine are replacing the human, and also some people call the cobot, when the robot are side by side with the human. So now, what is this Industrial Revolutions 5.0? So there is we have an issue, we are facing an issue. As you know, on this channel, we talk a lot about Japan. Japan are facing an issue of an aging populations. And they project that half of the population will shrink to half, projecting for 2050. And you need to find a solutions, knowing that the Japanese government is not so keen on the immigration side, so you need to find another solution. And I think robotic was clearly a natural path. I think there is a lot of debate because probably it's not coming from a Judeo-Christian side. So they have a different approach facing the robot. And also at certain moments, we are also need to fix the inflation, labor shortage, etc., etc. So it's an issue. So clearly the robot can help on that side. The other part, it's the supply chain vulnerability. As we know, with COVID 2020, we realized that a lot of goods have been produced outside of Europe, US, mainly in China. And when there is a disruption of the supply chain, it could be an issue. So robot could be clearly solve this issue by producing locally a lot of things. Now, AI and machine learning have been able to adapt on the system. And I will say on the other side, the sensitivity, the sensor, sensitivity and sensor. So we can understand now the machine or the artificial intelligence becoming quite sensitive, understanding what's going on. I want to go and bringing some illustrations here to my speech. Why? Because it's important for you to understand. I think a lot of people, and especially Elon Musk, was in the far front of this. And he brought this with Optimus, and he has the objective to produce 10,000 robots, first for, I will say, professional, and after, we can imagine, not in a very long time, they will work at your home. So these robots will really take a place. For the moment, it's the same way, the way finance was popularized. It was more on the end of the institutions, and now retail is taking control. I think it's a phase of adaptation. We want at Merrill Fund to identify who will be the winner. It was always the case, like I say, back to 2021, 2022, with the semiconductors. As we know, semiconductors now are part of our life, and we couldn't live without this small transistor. That's for sure. And they are feeding a lot. They are feeding the ChatGPT, Perplexity, and all this AI model. So nowadays, what is important is to identify who will be the winner. We know, for example, if I'm talking about the automobile industry here in Europe, that the Chinese, they came with the electrical vehicles very cheap, and they're challenging Porsche, Volkswagen for cheaper things. You can have access to a sport car for very little money compared to a Porsche, and this creating a really problem. These things happen already not long time ago with the solar panel. Germany was one of the biggest producers of solar panel, and the Chinese came and they destroyed the market. So clearly now it's the automobile industry, but the question is, going forward with the robot, who will get the capacity to produce a cheap robot? Is it China? Is it US? Especially at the moment, there is quite an important debate here about the reindustrializations, and the new Trump administration is trying to bring back clearly the industry to take control of the supply chain. And probably the only way they can make it, it's clearly with the help of the robot. And here, it's a question, the efficiency on the manufacturing and design philosophy. It's so important. And everything is taking place in the warehouse. In the warehouse, we discussed at the beginning about the cobot and how you move your warehouse and the product. And again, regaining control on the supply chain. And I think the Chinese have been quite advanced on that side. They have a lot of, a multiple of company because they have the ecosystem. The government is clearly pushing in these directions. In US, obviously, it's also pushing in these directions because we have these big tech giants, as we know, Amazon, Google, etc., who are going in these directions. But who will be the ultimate winner? And that's the questions we ask ourselves at Merrill Funds, and we are going. It's an ongoing thing because it's a very dynamic approach here. And like I will say, probably 2 years ago when we made a video about the challenge of the German automobile industry. Here, we want also to tell you that we are here to help you through our funds to find what will be the next one. A lot of people are talking about, and here we don't want to speak about, I'm not doing any recommendations, but a lot of people are talking about Palantir, for example, but few people understand what they do. And I think the new oil clearly is the data. Google clearly knew it, but Google, as we know, has been challenged by a lot of things, especially on the searching engines, the online, because ChatGPT, Perplexity, now users are more checking here using Perplexity and ChatGPT than the classical Google online. So clearly here, I think the revolutions will come clearly from the warehouse to your home. And this concept, Elon Musk, who's back, as we know, because a lot of people, I'm saying, what he's doing on the Dodge project, and a lot of investors, especially investors of Tesla, have been saying, what's going on? I mean, he cannot spend so much time with the Trump administration, so now he's back on his track, and clearly here is want to run the show on the robotics side, and on the other side, I will say similar duality like with the semiconductors. The Chinese are clearly be here present. We want to illustrate this, so this video we will try to bring you a lot of illustrations here. I think it's important to get the visual, and clearly we are doing this because it's important here. So for me, the key players used to use this principle, which is clearly a vertical integrations, a technology transfer for automotive, and which Tesla is already in these directions. Xinjiang in China has also this kind of automatizations. And clearly here it's important. You have the logistic part, you need to have the integrations. Again, there is no recommendations, just trying to understand the supply chains and how the logistic is coming. I think now we will finish the video and speak about the part 3. Why? We are living in the world since the beginning of this year. There is a lot of geopolitical events, and we know it. From US with a new administrations, but also at our door, there is like an intense war where technology is taking place and taking a major role. So I think it's important to understand that, because now nations, I will say nations, are investing. US, China are heavily investing in this. And it's not so far that we will have a humanoid. And you need to be ready. You need to be ready to live with the humanoid, because the population is aging clearly in Europe, and we spoke about Japan, which is quite a challenge. So we need to face the humanoid very soon in Europe, because the trajectory of Japan is replicating also in Germany. And we spoke about immigrations, and the case of Spain, who has been integrating well the immigrations, but it's not the case of the rest of the European countries. So humanoid AI capability could be clearly the solutions. And again, we want to give you access. We are working now on a project we will try to give you inside. And like I say, you can follow us on YouTube. But soon we will provide you more technology informations with the insight. So I encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn and to also register with your email to get access. Because here the idea of this video is to give you a general idea, but there is a lot of more accuracy that we can provide, that we will provide with our insight. So again, it's important. We are living in a world who's been challenged. Geopolitics was really clearly, I will say, the number one element here this year. I mean, you can just observe, for example, the trajectory of gold. You can observe also the crypto, and you can say this world is changing. This world is changing because probably 4-5 years ago, crypto was quite absent. The tech company also, the semiconductor also. So we are living in this 21st century. And this 21st century, we need to understand in which type of ecosystem we are living. And be a big fan of science fiction. And as you know, Moebius, one of my favorite comic, French writer, I think we are not so far away from what we expect and what our ancestors have been saying. So these projections we are need to be quite vigilant, try to be smart and understand who will be the winner, because there will be also a lot of losers, and this is important. We help you to navigate. So we want to thank you for your attention, especially if you are following us for a long time and you are following and seeing our old video on the semiconductors 3-4 years ago. the idea we want to be in the forefront on what's going on, and it's important because it will be reflected in our fund. So thank you for your time. Thank you very much, and we appreciate. If you have some comments or you want to contacting us, don't hesitate. Thank you very much for your time. Bye, and see you soon.